So the United States national debt has just blown past another major milestone. And look, this isn't just some big number for the news cycle, it's a fundamental shift in how the American economy works. Let's get right into it, because what we're about to break down is a totally new era of risk that frankly affects every single one of us.
$39 trillion. I mean, just look at all those zeros. It's a number so big it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But the real story here, the part that's truly shocking, isn't just the size, it's the speed. Get this. We are now adding $1 trillion to the debt every 100 days. $1 trillion! That pace is just staggering. And it means that whatever you thought you knew about the national debt, all the old rules, yeah, you can pretty much toss those right out the window. So, why is this $39 trillion mark such a game changer? Well, to get it, we have to throw out the old playbook entirely. In this explainer, we're going to decode what this new era of risk really means for the country and for you. No spin, no jargon, just the straight facts. Okay, first, let's get the basics straight, because there's a huge new twist here. You've got the annual deficit, that's the shortfall in a single year, and then you have the debt. That's all those shortfalls added up over time. The symptom versus the disease. But here's the new reality. Our deficits are now chronic. They're happening every single year, even when the economy is supposedly strong. It's this constant structural gap that's feeding this massive $39 trillion beast day in and day out. So that brings us to the next big question. If America owes $39 trillion, who exactly do we owe it to? Who's holding all the IOUs? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. You see, about 75%, a whopping 3/4 of it, is held right here at home. That's right, it's owned by American citizens and savings bonds, by U.S. companies, by state and local governments, and this is a big one, by the Federal Reserve itself. The other 25% or so is held by foreign countries, like Japan and China. And this is where things get really interesting and a little scary. That slice of the pie held by foreign countries, it's shrinking. As our debt keeps exploding, some of these nations are getting nervous. They're starting to back away from U.S. bonds. And that's a problem, because when they stop buying, we have to sweeten the deal to attract others. That means offering higher interest rates, which just makes the entire debt more and more expensive for us to manage. So what was the trigger? How did this giant pile of debt suddenly morph from a long-term problem into a full-blown active crisis? Well, the answer is that a very unusual, very long party in the financial world just came to a screeching halt. For the better part of 15 years, we lived in this kind of bizarre free money era. Interest rates were practically zero, so borrowing trillions of dollars, hey, no big deal, the interest was cheap. But that party is over. To fight inflation, the Fed had to raise interest rates back to normal levels. And that one decision basically lit the fuse on this debt time bomb. And this quote right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the crisis. It's what's known as the interest feedback loop. The bottom line is we now spend over $1 trillion a year just on interest. That's dead money. It doesn't build a single road, it doesn't fund any research, it doesn't pay a single soldier. We are literally borrowing new money just to pay the interest on our old loans. It's an insane cycle. And this chart, wow, it really puts it all into perspective. For the first time ever, the money we pay in interest each year is now more than our entire national defense budget. That $1 trillion is a massive opportunity cost. It's money that can't be invested back into our economy or our security. It's just gone. You see, this is no longer just some abstract economic issue. We're now talking about a real tangible weakness, something that affects America's power and our influence right where it counts, on the world stage. So how does that work? Well, take a look. Our interest payments are now eating up almost 1/3 of all the tax revenue the federal government takes in. And that means it's crowding out everything else. Think about it. If 1/3 of your paycheck went straight to credit card interest, you'd have a lot less for rent, food, or anything else, right? Well, that's what's happening to the entire country. Critical spending on defense, tech, and infrastructure all has to fight for what's left over. This whole situation has created a strategic choke point. It seriously limits our options if a crisis hits, and it absolutely weakens our hand in the ongoing competition with rivals like China. We can no longer just assume we're the safest place for the world to park its money. We're a nation deep in debt, and we're relying more and more on the confidence of others. So, where do we go from here? Let's be really clear about something. That old fantasy of just growing our way out of the problem, that's gone. It is off the table. The interest payments are just growing too fast now. We're at the end of the road. And now we're standing at a fork in the road with no easy answers left. And honestly, none of the paths look good. There are basically three choices left on the table. Let's break them down. First up, massive spending cuts. And I'm not talking about a little trim here and there. To make a real dent, we're talking about taking a chainsaw to the biggest parts of the budget: Social Security, Medicare, and defense. Politically, socially, this would be an absolute earthquake. Okay, option 2, major tax increases. And again, this wouldn't just be a tax the rich plan. To raise the kind of money we're talking about, it would mean significant tax hikes on almost everyone, which would almost certainly slam the brakes on the economy. And politically, it would be just as explosive. And the third path, this one's a bit sneaky. You can try to inflate the debt away. This is basically where the government prints money to pay its bills. Now, this makes the debt seem easier to pay off, but there's a huge catch. Every new dollar they print makes the dollars in your wallet, in your savings account, worth less and less. And that leaves us right here, at a brutal crossroads. At $39 trillion and counting, we're on a path that just isn't sustainable. The clock is ticking. So what's it going to be? Higher taxes for everyone, far fewer government services, or a dollar that's worth less every year? This choice, one way or another, is going to define America's power and its sovereignty for the rest of the century. The question is, which one will it be?